Hello, everyone. Welcome to another DCU Daily. Welcome back, everybody. Lovely to have you. We're going to be getting into a bunch of different stuff today. We are going to be getting into some news and some movie talk madness, quick hits, DCU Daily, all the fun stuff. Getting into, apparently, we're getting a reboot of Knight Rider, another reboot. That's going to be coming out to us from the Cobra Kai creators, and we talk about that. More Harry Potter talk. Chris Columbus is still not done talking about the new show, as well as possibly talking about the egos clashing on the Avengers Doomsday set. In addition to lots of talent coming to Brand New Day, we're going to talk about that. We're going to have movie reviews for Trust and the Roses. Liz is going to, talk about that later after the news, and then quick hits, and then the DCU. We're going to be talking a bunch of different news stories. Certain people wanting to play Batman, certain people talking about who they think would be a good Batman, and James Gunn going off on threads like he usually does. But he mainly talked about retcons, and the big story today is talking about apparently the rated R part of the DCU. Is that going to work? Is that going to not? Obviously, we're going to get into that and so much more right after this wonderful little news intro telling us we are indeed Signoffs.
It doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always number two.
All right, Mr. I need to paint my abs on to get nominated. You don't see Robert Downey doing that.
You're kidding.
Robert
You're
Downey.
kidding. I can't open the envelope without the.
Warner Brothers is heading back into the Matrix with a new movie in the works.
Wonder what other surprises are in store.
I want to be Bruce Wayne.
I like that.
You're gonna love me.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see
Right there.
You look ridiculous.
Well, not no more, he don't.
What, dude? I can barely understand you. Your accent's insane.
What the
Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Wonderful news intro. But here, hello, I'm John. Very nice to meet or see the regulars, meet the new people, all that fun stuff. We have a good, decent sized show today. And after this, we will be getting into the delayed tier list Tuesday, now tier list Wednesday. Both Dan and I's internet went out at the same exact time. So unfortunately, Spectrum and Optimum just couldn't get their shit together. So, we had to deal with that. Very unfortunate little ditty. But who's not a little ditty? Liz. Liz isn't, and it's lovely to have her once again on her lovely staycation. So we get to see more of her wondrous niceness. And and we're getting tons more movie reviews because of it now, but we are going to be getting into that much later. Obviously, I have to say hello to the various people in the chat. Enterprising Ilyas Ganiwala, I've never seen you before. Hello, very nice to see you. Emo Punk Princess, also very lovely to see you, and anybody else watching on this wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. So let us jump right into the show. Obviously, the first thing we talked about is the first thing we are going to be getting into right now, and that is apparently we're getting a Knight Rider reboot added to the list of 80s reboots. So apparently the Cobra Kai creators, in addition to Kelly McCormick and David Leitch, aka the director of Deadpool 2 and Bullet Train and all those wonderful little action comedies, apparently we are going to be getting a Knight Rider movie reboot. And Liz, what are your thoughts on this? Is this another rolling your eyes at a reboot type thing, or are you kind of excited for this, considering that the Cobra Kai creators actually made a Karate Kid show that was worth a damn? So
I mean, I am looking forward to it. I'm hoping that they do it justice. I hope that they're really trying to make something of it. I'm actually kind of glad that they're not just trying to like reboot it as a series. I think I would prefer that they start doing things kind of this way. Like, we tried to have a Miami Vice film was a little too dark, not campy enough, not fun enough, I think. But like, maybe we should start doing this route rather than doing, remaking stuff and dragging it out for an entire series only for it to get canceled after the first season. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully they don't like. I'm the only thing that, like, I read the article and it seems like they're actually going to be serious about it, but like I'm also nervous that it's going to end up being like a MacGruber version of Knight Rider, which I hope is not the case. But yeah, I'll check it out. I again would like to see a trailer, see if it's worth it or not, but you guys know I'll see it regardless just to tell you all about it. So
Right. I mean, there have been tons of Knight Rider like spin-offs.
yeah.
There was the TV film in the 90s, there was the reboot in 2008. There was Code of Vengeance, there was like Team Knight Rider. There was a whole bunch of stuff that was connected to the Knight Rider brand. So I think I think I think it could be a lot of fun. Am I a mystery wrapped in an enigma? Am I? I'm a pretty open book, but I'd like, a lot of people liked Cobra Kai. I know it
I
like
like
kind of
Cobra Kai.
faltered towards the end, but I still thought it was pretty phenomenal. So I don't know what the fuck you're on about, but oh hey, look, Dan is in the chat. Hello, Dan. We can
Hello,
see you.
Dan.
But yes, we are going to be getting this, and I'm obviously it's falls down to the main guy. Obviously, David Hasselhoff, too old, but I'm curious how they're gonna make it work. I mean, got to get someone who's charismatic enough, and the boy telling us that we are enough in every news intro. I wouldn't mind seeing Ryan Gosling if he's not busy, but he might be considered too good for this. But we'll see. But yes, so I think this is a rather exciting kind of thing, even though I know like reboot, another thing that's getting rebooted, another thing that's getting rebooted. I get it. I know.
Think of who I would want as a.
I don't know. You probably
Michael
watched the
Knight.
show. Actually, watched the show. I never watched the show, so
I
that was
did watch
before
the
my
show.
time.
I love me a
Hunky
rerun.
Hasselhoff. So
Don't hassle the Hoff gang. Everybody
Yeah.
knows that. Number one
and
rule.
who Star-Lord thought was his dad or believed was his dad for so
I mean,
long.
don't we all wish he were our dad?
Well, I mean, he was daddy at one point. Maybe not. Hello, but I think this is a good, especially if it's. I will say David Leitch brings in a lot of confidence here. He definitely,
I'm willing to give it a chance.
Same here. Like I know, because I mean I get it, like again another reboot as I keep mentioning, but like there's some that are like I don't know, it just sounds like a really good, like Highlander. Like Highlander, I didn't like the original movie. I think it's like okay, but like I honestly, that is a movie that is great for a good reboot. So I've been saying that for years. So I think I'm pretty excited for that, and not just because of hunky Henry Cavill, but like I think it's got a good cast. It's got a good, like, Chad Stahelski said that it's a huge passion project for him. So that has me excited, and that this has me pretty excited, even though it's like bare bones, very not really sure where it's gonna, like, what the direction is gonna be, but it's still honestly very interesting.
It kind of was. If you actually watch the show, it did sort of do things along Transformer lines.
Yeah. But yeah, very exciting. But now we move on to the next franchise. Well, I don't know. I guess you could call Knight Rider a franchise, but next franchise, Harry Potter. Well, we were talking about Chris Columbus yesterday, and he was talking about how, the sadness of like dealing with J.K. Rowling, where what she has become, kind of thing, and all that. And now he's kind of has a little bit more to say. How he saw the set photos and video of Nick Frost as Hagrid, and he's like, okay, he's wearing the same exact costume. And he's just like asking, kind of like what the reboot talk we were just saying.
Yeah.
What's the point? Like, it's more of the same. Why are they trying to do this? And maybe you can answer that question, Liz. What do you think the point is, other than money, of course, because that's really the big and
money.
And
I mean, it's the same reason that Star Wars keeps pumping out stuff, right? It's to get the next generation hooked. And hopefully, again, with the advances of technology, they figure they'll be more apt to want to see this rather than go back and watch the older films. I mean, they just made the announcement. AMC is going to, I don't know if it's AMC specifically, but they're going to be re-showing the Twilight films in theaters in October.
We are going to be getting into that later.
So I know friends who will be taking their daughters to see the films in the theater, much like they went and saw them when they originally came out. So that's what it is. It's to kind of refresh the audience, re-excite people, give them something familiar, but also with, a shiny new finish on it, and, to make a boatload of money. And they will.
Yeah. Also, it's probably not going to be book accurate because the showrunners went out of their way to say, yeah, we're not following the books this time.
Well, they did say they are going to try and bring in some characters that they just didn't have the time to kind of throw in the films. Like Peeves, for example. It sounds like Peeves is going to be a part of it.
Rick Mayall was supposed to play him in the movies, and then he got
right.
cut,
And a lot of people were really disappointed that they didn't get him in the original films. So it sounds like we are going to be getting a little bit of something.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
Anyway, but Nelson Moreno is asking us a question for a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, man. Favorite horror film? The Thing. I've talked about it many times. John Carpenter's The Thing from 1982. Greatest horror film ever made. So boom, there we go. Patrick Ollinger.
I don't do a lot of scary movies.
No. That's what I'm saying. Like, your stomach can't handle it. Like, you can't do it. Don't watch it. Don't watch it.
Okay. I mean, I do like The Strangers. I went and saw The Descent. I did not see The Descent 2, but I saw The Descent.
Yeah, Descent 2, bullshit. The Descent, the American ending fucking blows because it makes the entire movie not make sense, and the only true ending is the original English ending. So I will say that.
Can't even get my movies right, gang.
No, I'm not saying it's not your fault. It's the fucking studio that's like, we can't have a downer ending. It's like, bro, it's a horror movie. It's supposed to be a downer. It's horror, my guy. Like, the fuck you mean? Hello, Tony. Very nice to see you.
Hey, Tony.
Well, yeah, obviously, I don't think it's stupid. It's just like he's looking at it from like a filmmaker creative perspective rather than a business executive perspective. Because business executive, it's obvious. Money. They want more money.
Well, but again, when someone is telling you they're coming out with something new, a different version of something, and then the guy's wearing the exact costume, like, whoa,
very much a downer ending.
It's ridiculous.
That's too much. That's even too much for me. Like, even I have a certain line. That's too much for me. I read because I haven't seen the movie. I read up on the ending, and I'm just like, nope, I'm okay. I'm just not gonna watch.
Way too on the nose, really.
Yeah. But I think also hello. Harry Potter reboot will get some backlash. People will still watch. Yeah, of course they will.
Yeah,
of course they will.
Listen, I'm not happy about it, but I am going to check it out.
I don't think I'm gonna watch it on HBO Max, and I'll just leave it at that. But also, what's going on? Do you like hot dogs? I like hot dogs. I think hot dogs are underrated. Anyway, let's not talk about M. Night Shyamalan. But yeah, I mean, Clayface might be a future horror franchise. We'll have to wait and see if that's successful. Speaking of Eden Lake, ironically, because the director of that is directing Clayface, so But yeah, I can kind of see where he's coming from. But at the end of the day, it's just the thing is, like, what are you gonna do? Like, you're gonna make him bald and clean shaven and like 3 feet tall? It's like, what else can you do with Hagrid as a character? He's a groundskeeper. Like, that's the whole thing. He's a roughly, long-haired, bearded guy. You can't really do. There's not much to interpretation there, so it's like you can't really go beyond that, I guess. Yeah, I mean, they did, but people still love them, so anyway, but we go on from the good people to the bad people of the Harry Potter franchise. But apparently Matt Smith is responding to the apparent casting rumors as spoilery new season 1 details are revealed. Obviously, they went out of their way to state they are not revealing the casting of Voldemort, just to leave the creepiness of the villain up to the people, so that it's not like revealed too quickly. And I think that's a smart move. I think that's a very enigma mystery kind of move, and I really like that. But apparently, there was some bits and pieces there of like the idea of like, oh, this of Matt Smith taking on the role, and he had this to say. We're going to go back and discuss what the photos were, but can anyone play him after Ray Fiennes? He was so good. Hypothetically, who knows? But following in the footsteps of the great Ray Fiennes is a very difficult mantle for someone. So good luck to whoever it is. It ain't going to be me, because he's very like, you know what? I'm not even going to touch that with a 39.5-foot pole.
And good for him.
Not even. Like, he's just, I get it because he has a very gaunt face, and that's kind of perfect for Voldemort. But I will say he doesn't have the voice for Voldemort. Like, Ray Fiennes had this very epic kind of voice for it, and it worked.
I could, just along those lines of, again, and we're not doing a fan cast, but like, I could see David Tennant doing it, even though he was already in the Harry Potter films.
Right.
But he kind of has the look for it. He can definitely do a voice. That would be something special. But I doubt
that could be a future Fancast Friday where we cast Voldemort. So
I know.
Yeah. honestly, I would love to see it. I have seen Prom Night. It's okay. Like, it's funny to see Leslie Nielsen in a horror movie. And Jamie Lee Curtis was good in it, but for the most part, not that great of a movie. But the music is awesome. Gotta love that disco. Yeah, I don't really care. It's Voldemort. Anyway, don't really care about that. But Michael Cera, I think, you know what, would be the greatest Voldemort. I think Michael Cera would just be absolutely.
He's definitely started kind of breaking out and not playing the typical roles that we see him in, and he's got a build for it. I wouldn't be mad at that.
So so anyway, what this rest of this article is saying, there were scenes inside the leaking cauldron are set to be shot next month, with Daedalus Diggle reportedly appearing there for his only scene this season. Lee Jordan, Dean Thomas, and Oliver Wood have been cast, with news on who is playing them expected soon. So yeah, Matt Smith looks like is not going to be playing him, but who knows with how like, oh, it's definitely not going to be me. Meanwhile, like, it's like Andrew Garfield's like, I'm definitely not in No Way Home. Chris Evans, I'm definitely not in Avengers Endgame.
You always use that comparison.
It's a good comparison because the thing is, like, Andrew Garfield has deserved an Oscar for many roles, but his greatest role is trying to convince people that he wasn't in Spider-Man No Way Home. Honestly, but the entire budget would have to go to his fucking salary.
Oh my god, please. Let's stop with that.
But although speaking of Robert Downey Jr., we are going to transition into MCU news right now. And so a lot of people have been talking about the supposed rumors of bad blood on the Avengers Doomsday set. Also nice Fraggle Rock hoodie. But it's a nice hoodie. But it looks very cozy. But the two biggest egos on set have apparently been clashing, and TMZ of all people is trying to shut that rumor up.
That's
Jeff Snyder.
Fucking Jeff Snyder, dude. The moment I saw his name, I was like, whatever.
Jeff Snyder. Whatever. Here's the thing. First of all, fuck Jeff Snyder. But second, it's like the fact that you're making TMZ look like a reputable news source.
Yeah,
that's
they need
to
be
bad.
The voice of reason. They need to come in and be like, all right,
bad.
guys.
The people that would stalk people on the streets and fucking put cameras in their faces and act like the biggest assholes on planet Earth. You're making them look decent compared to your sorry ass. Like, all right, okay. Although Tony Randall loving your sweatshirt.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. Anyway. So, earlier this month, I heard about the Clash, a lot of, reshoots, there's a whole thing. Anyway, so there have been many theories. I mean, Jeff Snyder isn't the only asshole to report this, but John Roca has always has said a couple things too. But they're apparently saying this is all completely fabricated. It appears attempts are being made to stop the story from getting even further out of control, as People has now chimed in with its take on these obviously baseless claims, in addition to TMZ. But they said there is zero bad blood. A source tells People exclusively between the two Marvel Cinematic Universe superstars. Furthermore, the insider notes to People the two have never met in person, which adds to the idea, because I mean, look at Alan Cumming. He was saying, I didn't act with anybody. I was alone, isolated, whatever. So that adds to that, because that's how Marvel movies are usually filmed, to the chagrin of many, but that's how they are filmed. Adding some context, the piece reminds us in 2019, Reynolds and Downey Jr. squared off via playful messages while supporting Joe and Anthony Russo's Agbo Superhero Fantasy Football League, which featured celebrities competing against each other in support of charities of their choosing. After Downey Jr. quipped "Eat me" in a video to his competitor, Reynolds responded with a clip of him eating a cookie with the Sherlock Holmes' star's face on it. So obviously, as the great Winston Churchill would say, a lie has made it halfway around the world before the truth can get its pants on. So no matter what, people just want drama. They want to fuel bullshit, and there is no one that fuels bullshit better than Jeff Snyder. So, it's a shame that these things have to happen. Now, maybe it gets revealed, oh, there was bad blood, but I don't think there is. I mean, Robert Downey Jr., yeah, he might have a bit of an ego being the highest paid actor in Hollywood right now, but even then, I don't think he would fuck this up. I mean, he's getting too much money to care. He's locking in. He's focusing on his performance. I don't think, exactly. It's a whole bullshit. So, between the two of them, we're getting too much Taylor Swift content. Let's not get into that.
Dan, for goodness sakes.
There it is. But yeah, it's wow, amazing. Jeff Snyder is wrong about something. Wow. I guess today is a day that ends in Y. That's crazy. But this isn't the only MCU news we're getting into. We are also getting into Fantastic Four. The Blue Team is getting a Blu-ray release sooner rather than later, maybe. But it appears that the date of the 4K Ultra HD Steelbook, I almost said Spielberg, whatever, that it's going to be October.
Stroke.
I'm maybe October 28th, 2025, and it seems that the Blu-ray is going to look like this, kind of bland, but I guess it works.
It's cute.
But
Very
it seems, yes, very much so. What are you doing? Anyway, whatever. But yeah, so anybody who wants to get the Blu-ray of it, the 4K Ultra HD, that maybe. But also, hello, Lexi. We are not putting your comment on screen because we don't want to get demonetized. An idiot. That's all you need to know. But exactly. I think that's safe to say. But yeah, would you get the Steelbook, Liz, or no?
No.
You don't like Steelbooks?
It's really got nothing there for me.
Fair enough.
Not my vibe.
Gotcha. But yeah, cool. I probably won't get it either. But next up, apparently you got a lot of talent on Spider-Man Brand New Day, because apparently Jackie Chan's stunt team is working on Spider-Man Brand New Day, which is fucking insane. And apparently there might be a Spider-Man 5 title services. Again, it's a rumor, so who knows. But Spider-Man Brand New Day set photos have confirmed that.
Also, who's Jackie Chan's stunt team? Isn't that just Jackie Chan? Doesn't he just
Well, I mean, he has
show
a
up?
team. It's just he does his own stunts, but he still has a team of people.
Yeah. They just hold his water for him and his towel.
I don't know. But that's about
because he doesn't need help. He's Jackie Chan.
Anyway, he was saying, as we've seen from the set photos, it seems like we're getting practical effects and practical web slinging, which, you know, that's not going to guarantee a good movie, but it's, you know, I'm just saying. You know, yeah, keep Snyder's away from DC films, guys. That's the
For
moral of the
real.
story.
We need what's the call? What are we? Never mind. My brain is not working right now.
My brain isn't working either, so it's fine. But anyway,
I think we're both having a stroke.
Probably. But
Jesus.
Jackie Chan himself confirmed that his stunt team is working on the upcoming Marvel Studios Sony Pictures co-production. I went to London and visited the set. My Jackie Chan stunt team was busy filming Spider-Man, and I was the action director for the Jackie Chan stunt team. I guess that's what it's called. While Chan himself isn't working on the movie, he did visit the set. I went to watch their rehearsals, and the director was quite surprised to see me. Stroke. I made sure he understood that they are part of my team. Chan said, I heard the young man paid tribute to my films in a lot of action scenes and has done stunts by himself. So, you know, in terms of stunts, like getting props from fucking Jackie Chan of all people, that's got to be like the highest honor you could possibly get. Him and Tom Cruise would be the highest honor in terms of stunts. But you know, I think that's pretty awesome. Does this have you even more excited, or are you just like, whatever?
I mean, I think it's really cool. I you know, I was gonna see it regardless. I love the Spider-Man movies. I love Tom Holland. Yeah, I think that's it's just an extra level of neat. So that's good.
Okay, interesting. But yeah, but apparently there was also a rumor that they have learned the Spider-Man 5 title, which might be Spider-Man Darkest Day. So we're going from home to day, which like I could see that. Like I could maybe see it, but the whole thing is like Brand New Day. It's like in it with like the comic story of the same name. Like it works. I hope they're not going to do like day, like have it like be like day or new or brand or whatever the hell it is. Like they're not going to have like oh, Far From Home, Homecoming. It's like, we got it. Like we don't need like a alliterative fucking like word in every title. It's like,
no,
we don't need that. It's an okay title, but nothing all that great. But hopefully it's fake, because that's kind of sounds a little bit lame. But we move on from the news to MovieTalk Madness. I almost said MovieTalk Monday. I was like, whoa, that's not right. But it's fine. It's fine. We're just conveniently having a stroke.
We're glitching. We're just glitching. It's solar flares,
the Matrix is glitching, but
solar flares.
So let's get that cinema music in here. And Liz, why don't you talk to us about the first movie you watched, the Sophie Turner starring Trust?
I don't know where to begin with this one. Not that I was expecting anything amazing, but I was like looking forward to seeing Sophie Turner in a new thing. It seemed interesting. They have it labeled as a suspense, as a thriller. Really not a whole lot of suspense. The writing was absolute trash. Bottom line, Sophie Turner's character was a child star, got a role on an extremely popular family television show, you know, along the lines of like Full House, and basically grew up in the show. And now we see her in her early 20s, very successful, still a major cast member in the show. They dubbed her as America's sweetheart. And she got hacked, like a lot of celebrities that we've seen in real life have had happen. And some of her tweets and texts and private messages had gotten out there. So she was like, listen, I need a break. I need to hide from all the media scrutiny, because it didn't paint her in the best light. I mean, granted, again, she's in her 20s. She's doing things that 20-somethings do. But it kind of tainted her image, because she's supposed to be this wholesome, again, America's sweetheart, America's daughter, from this beloved TV show that's been running for 15-20 years. So her assistant rents her an Airbnb, says here, no one's gonna have any idea where you're going. Just go, take some time for yourself. She takes her dog Georgie with her, and off to this beautiful estate house up the coast in the woods she goes. Apparently, some ne'er-do-wells have a connection to that estate house, that Airbnb. One gentleman is the manager of it, and his relatives are broke and addicted to substances and are just trying to make some cash quick. And they say to the kid, hey, let's go rob that Airbnb that you work for. And the dude was like, no, we're not doing that. Like, don't mess up a good thing for me. It's the only income we've got coming in right now. Well, the ne'er-do-wellers are going ne'er-do-well. So they go to break into this estate where Sophie Turner is staying. She locks herself in a back room and chaos ensues. Meanwhile, backstory, one of the images that got leaked from her cell phone was a positive pregnancy test. And the media was going crazy trying to figure out who the baby daddy is. Is she still pregnant? Did she keep it? What's the story behind this positive pregnancy test? And come to find out, the man who plays her father on the TV show had been having an affair with her. We don't know for how long. We don't know when it started. We don't know if he was grooming her or if they just both kind of developed this relationship. Because again, the writing was not really great in this one. They don't make you hate the guy. They just want you to assume that he's a piece of shit because he's, I mean, granted, he's cheating on his wife and he has children. But again, they don't show any of, there's like basically no backstory aside from she's screwing her coworker, her co-star. Yes, he's significantly older than her. But again, we don't know how that relationship developed. There certainly wasn't any signs of abuse. She doesn't claim that he abused her in the few conversations they have over the phone while he's trying to like ascertain what she's doing about this supposed pregnancy. It was really messy all around. Katie Seagal is in it. Love her. Her character was annoying. Again, the writing was just really bad. And it wasn't a situation where like Sophie was constantly getting herself out of like hairy situations. She was literally like locked in a room for 75% of the film, then gets out of the room and escapes her would-be attackers. It was kind of a bummer. Like I was really expecting a lot more from it. They make it seem like it's this real dramatic, suspenseful type of film where she has to like claw her way out and survive, and that's really not what happened. A lot of stupid things went down. And yeah, it was a bummer. It was a buzzkill. I do not recommend seeing it. I will certainly not be seeing it again. Out of 10, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 4. Because it wasn't even all that entertaining, unfortunately. Again,
Enterprise, thank you for the super chat.
Thank you. Again, I like Sophie Turner. I was looking forward to seeing her in something new. I think it's nice to, she is a good actress, but this was a total miss for me, unfortunately.
Yeah. Bargain bin dog shit movie with a has-been actress that can't get good work outside of Game of Thrones. So, that's just how it be. Sorry. But let's hopefully move on to something better. Well, not to me, because I hated the trailers. This movie looked like shit to me, so I wasn't going to watch it. But maybe you'll like it. So, The Roses.
I liked it. I did like it better than Trust, but the pacing for this one was terrible. It was an hour and a half, and I felt like I was there for 3 hours. It was just a lot of back and forth and some real stupidity. I had said yesterday that I don't believe the chemistry between Olivia Colman and Benedict Cumberbatch. I don't believe that they're like happily married, but I do believe the chemistry in that they would be having some type of issue and be fighting with one another. But it did, I will say the film did change my mind a little bit about that, because the relationship does start out really, really nice. They're both polar opposites of one another, but both very successful in their own right. So the movie tried really hard to like make you like to kind of force you to not have to pick sides, if that makes sense. Like they were trying to make, okay, Benedict Cumberbatch's character caused all the problems and started all of this bullshit. and then became a whiny little bitch when his wife got more successful than him. So I was 100% on Olivia Colman's side, but they were trying really, really hard to make her character an equal piece of shit and failed miserably. And then in the end, they both were just so ridiculous and absurd. I just, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. It was just so outlandish and so ridiculous and so unbelievable. Not that it wasn't good. It's not that the writing wasn't decent. The acting was really good. The situations, the comedic situations were funny, but it was just so random and so out there and so out of left field, ridiculous, that you can't help but just kind of like you're laughing, but you're cringing at the end of it. And yeah, it just, again, well, I would see it again maybe if it was like on in the background somewhere or something. Visually, everything was stunning. The house that Benedict's character builds, the scenery, they're on the California coast. All of the shots were gorgeous. Everybody's very successful, so they're in successful settings. But it was kind of a miss for me, unfortunately. It was more ridiculous than it was funny. And I know it's supposed to be a dark comedy, but it was just kind of icky. So I'm gonna give it a 4 as well, honestly. Even though I would watch it again just to have something on, I'm not gonna seek it out. I don't think it's one that you need to see in theaters necessarily either. It was like I said, it was just written, I don't know. It was just goofy. It's goofy. That's the best I can give you.
Do you think the audience score for this would be lower than the critic score? Or I know you don't. I know neither of us really care about Rotten Tomatoes, but I'm just curious.
I think it might be the same, because also there really was no definitive end to the story either. Something happens in the midst of their big fight that they have in the end, where you see Olivia Colman with a gun in the trailer. They do make up from that, but while they were in that fight, something happens that leads you to believe that something catastrophic is actually going to end up to the both of them. So in the end, neither one of them really wins, so quote unquote. But they just kind of left it open-ended, like for you to draw your own conclusion. So I don't know, though. Everything about it was just so messy that it was just really disappointing. And because the cast is stacked, they could have done something really funny with this. They could have done something really interesting with this, and instead it was just a hot.
I mean, the original movie. I don't know if the book ends like this, but I know the original movie. Spoiler alert for the original movie. It literally ends with the both of them dead. And
and that's pretty much the direction they were going with this. I didn't want to spoil it, but that's that's implied.
But so that's kind of like how they're gonna go with it. But I don't know if the original movie or the original book ends like that. I would assume it does, since both movies end up leaning to that. The thing I hate, and I will respect the remake for kind of doing this, I really hate how the book and the original movie are called War of the Roses, where it's like there's literally an actual historical event called that, and it's just like it just, I hate, because then I'm like, I want to look up War of the Roses, and it's just like, oh yeah, I'm thinking about this stupid comedy movie, and it's just like, all right, sure, whatever. But yeah, Enterprising, it's Immaturity, the movie, and Enterprising says the roses, I guess you could say, is wilted.
Well, and again, I would be interested to see what a guy has to say about it, just because from a woman's perspective, a strong, independent 40-something-year-old woman that don't need no man, character, like watching Benedict Cumberbatch's character, like essentially just sabotage his marriage by being a whiny little bitch, and then resent his wife when she steps up and provides for the family and supports his dreams. Sorry, I'm siding with the wife. So I would be interested to see somebody else's perspective, but also there's no need for you to watch this movie, so who knows.
Yeah.
And Tony, I'm painting my nails tomorrow. So again, if you're gonna put it in the super chat, you can give us a super chat, and you can pick what color I get on the nail.
I would say I still think do Peacemaker nails, like have like a dove on one nail, and then like silver or something on another, and then like
and an
maybe,
R rating to drive the message home.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was Movie Talk Madness, guys. We'll get that off. And so yeah, so thank you for your reviews, Miss Liz. And now we are going to get into another part of the show with the quick hits. Now let's get to the other song. There we go.
Breathe through it.
Let's breathe. Let's be quick. Let us be quick. And the first quick hit we have is Emil Joachim. I don't know who that is.
Me neither.
Is now the latest SNL cast member to exit. Lauren Michaels already said that there is going to be a mass exodus of SNL. Not saying that's a bad thing. That's what usually happens, is like we're going to get new talent, and then the existing talent is going to go off and like do bigger and better things, because SNL was never supposed to be like that forever. So, just another person to exit. I don't know who this is. You don't know who this is. So
since I don't know who it is, clearly he didn't make a lasting impact on the show.
So well, maybe he was just a writer and didn't actually.
No, they say he was on like a third of the time compared to everybody else.
So yeah, I mean, I hope bigger and better things.
I mean, hey, Billy Crystal was on for a hot second, and that was it. So you never know. Yeah. This could be the next Billy Crystal.
Yeah. Who knows? Well, let's not get crazy here. Thanks, man. I wish, and thanks, Edit Person. Oh, I wish I cared about this. Yeah, well, let's go to something you do care about, and that's maybe Ballard gets major season 2 renewal boost with California tax credit. I've never heard of this show. Have you heard of this show?
I think we talked about it when the first season was announced, because it is a spinoff of Bosch, which I've never seen. But good for Maggie Q. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember the main guy of Bosch. Because they had Bosch Legacy, and then he was like thrown away for like, let's have diverse female lead, and he was kind of miffed about that, how he got his show taken away from him for this show. So it's like, whatever. We'll see. Maggie Q is very talented, so we'll see how that goes. Good luck to her, but I don't really care. Anyway, you mentioned this before. Twilight Saga is going to return to theaters in October. So if you want to really just relive the horribleness of the
I'm not sure what's going on. Movie
2000.
Theaters seem to be doing this a lot right now. So as I mentioned yesterday, my theater is re-showing Batman and Batman Returns, the Michael Keaton films. This past Monday, they're showing it next Monday. They're also re-showing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There's a lot of things that they're bringing back. So apparently we're getting the saga over again in theaters.
Yeah,
so
just in October. They don't have any release dates specific. So yeah. Yeah.
Good times.
Twilight. Oof. Gross. Anyway, speaking of,
I saw every midnight showing of all.
I just want to throw up. Anyway, apparently Drake, speaking of throw up, and more Degrassi stars look back at highs and lows of teen drama in Whatever It Takes trailer. So the Degrassi show is going to be getting a kind of a look back documentary on it all, with a lot of interviews of the cast. Degrassi, the original Euphoria, but with less boobs, less Sydney Sweeney boobs, and less boobs and sex and all that stuff. This was actually focused on telling a good story and not just throwing boobs at the lens all day every day. So did you ever watch Degrassi when you were younger or not?
I did not. I know Kevin Smith is a huge fan of Degrassi and ended up coming back and directing some of the new class shows. So I've heard a lot of Degrassi, but I've never actually seen any of it.
Yeah, my friend is a big Degrassi fan. It did a lot of progressive stuff for the time. Like it had like one of the first like major trans characters, and like
Yeah.
it did a lot of dark stuff without having to actually like really show it properly. But it did like pretty much everything Euphoria did, but before Euphoria. And Euphoria has the crux of like having like naked people, and which is you're sexualizing teenagers, which like gross. And like just way more in your face about it, when Degrassi was more low key and focused on telling a good story. So, you know, so anybody who is excited for the Degrassi documentary, whatever it takes, by all means. Next up, speaking of, I don't know, somebody was talking about angst drama. Angst, there you go. Ariana Grande posts cryptic announcement trailer, but apparently, you know, they posted an Instagram video in regards to this. All, do you care about this?
I mean, everybody thinks that it's just the announcement for her next album because she said we were getting more music. It was very cryptic. It was literally just like, hey, there's an announcement coming. And that was pretty much it. So, okay.
And I agree. Teenagers, poopy. Teenagers are, in fact, poopy. But next up, we have Denzel Washington reveals in a new highest to lowest interview that he's like,
no one,
bro, I don't fucking watch movies anymore. I'm too tired for this shit.
Yeah, we get it, Denzel. We get it. You're so fucking above everybody else that wastes their time.
I mean, he is.
Cinema.
I mean, he is. He can literally do anything and everything. And yeah,
but he's not though. He's not doing literally anything and everything. He has done the exact same role for the past 5 fucking roles. I'm so tired of it. And I recognize that there are questions that prompt him to give these types of responses, but every time I see these headlines, I'm like, bro, you're answering questions nobody fucking asked you. Like, I'm so sick of his old man shtick that he's doing right now. Like, he's just so above it all. He's so much better than all of it. Motherfucker, that's how you got famous. That's how you made your money, was through these fucking movies. And now all of a sudden you're just gonna act jaded and it's like, it's not, I don't have time for it. It's not art. Bro, okay, show me some fucking art, because I haven't seen it from you in a minute. And I don't mean to get down on Denzel, because I do laud him for the shit that he's done. But what the fuck? I'm so sick of his crusty old man attitude lately. I don't
know. I agree with most of what he's saying right now. I get it why he's like I've been in a lot of them, which is funny. He's like, too many. I think I've been in 50 movies. Laughed in Eric Roberts, who's been in like 1,000 movies.
I'm saying.
But I get it. Like, I think he's just like a little bit tired. I think he should just retire at this point.
Well, that's exactly it. If you want to continue to just do theatrical shit, then just do theatrical shit and shut the fuck up and let other people have their blockbusters. But he's still showing up in movies, so I'm not understanding what his fucking point is in all of this. Like, he's just fucking whining now. It's so annoying.
I don't know. I love Denzel too much, and I think I respect him too much.
That's fine. And that's fine.
He's
like I said, I don't want to get on him, but like, Jesus Christ, he's a broken record at this point. Like, we get it, dude. We get it. Especially
when highest to lowest looks like dog shit to me, but that's just beside the point. But next up, we have a lot of casting news, but apparently Nina Dobrev, Tyler Hoechlin, and Virginia Gardner to star in rom-com. It Happened One Summer. But Peter Hutchings will direct from a screenplay by Christina Mengert and Joseph Mazinski. And the synopsis is, a Piper Bellinger is a glamorous LA it girl whose glittering world comes crashing down after a viral mishap gets her canceled overnight. Cut off from her wealthy's family safety net, she's exiled to a rugged fishing town with one ultimatum: fix up her late father's dive bar or lose everything. There she butts heads with Brendan, a gruff sea captain who has zero... This is just a Hallmark movie. This just sounds like a fucking Hallmark movie. Like, this is just every Hallmark captain movie.
That's not who I picture when I think of a gruff sea captain. What? Oh, Christ.
So yeah, this just looks like a typical Hallmark movie. I mean, it's like Hallmark, but for like trying to do like a Gen Z millennial thing, but it's just like not working. But I mean, I'm glad my boy is getting work, but outside of that, I don't really care. Next up, Steve Pemberton is cast as media mogul Rupert Murdoch in The Hack. Care about this?
All I care about is that I hope they show Rupert Murdoch as the piece of shit that he is. That's all. I just hope that they're true to reality. That's all.
Nice. Next up, well, the making of Rocky is going to be getting a biopic. But apparently they have found their Sly Stallone, which
Look at
is
this kid.
Anthony Ippolito.
He looks
gonna be
like Sly Stallone gave birth to him. Look at this freaking guy.
So he looks like Sly Stallone, but like twinkified, like essentially Sly if he was a twink.
A metrosexual Sly Stallone.
But Peter Farrelly is directing the feature that is intended to be released in theaters. Sometimes Farrelly can do good work, sometimes not. Look at Green Book. So it's we'll see how good this is. And then finally, John Malkovich joins Bad Monkey Season 2. This actor is set to appear as a series regular in Bill Lawrence's Apple TV Plus show that stars Vince Vaughn. Let's hope he's actually in the show and doesn't get cut at the last second for no reason. And interestingly enough, Red Ghost, monkeys, John Malkovich can't get away from monkeys, apparently. So, thoughts on this?
I mean, I've never heard of this show, so okay.
Yeah, my parents watched it. They said it was okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Way to go, John Malkovich, still getting work. That's it for Quick Hits.
Great.
There we go. No more. None of that. Anyway. But thanks for watching the news side of the show. We're just getting through it as quick as we can. Now we're gonna be getting into DCU Daily. So to just let everybody know, we are blessed from the start. Also blessed at the end, but blessed from the start mainly.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see
right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in the stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all in the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto.
Hunka hunka.
Oh my God. It's DC time, guys. It is the DC times. But I am, of course, your host as always. Not as always, but for now, because Dan is also not feeling very well. So he'll be on tier list Wednesday. But he's just trying to find time to prep and all that stuff. But I'm John. Nice to see you. And here we have Liz. Also, do you think it's nice to see people or no?
It's always nice to see people.
Anyway, what are you most excited for on this wonderful Wednesday talking about DC?
Rick Flags.
Yay. You just took a look at the rundown and you're just like, I just see this thing and I'm going to talk about it.
But it is the one I'm the most excited about.
I mean, we're going to be talking about it for like 2 seconds, but sure.
Okay, Blue Beetle.
I'm just fucking pulling your leg. Anyway, let's get into the wonderfulness of DC. But first things first, speaking of Tyler Hoechlin, the first thing we have to get into is his apparent want to play the DCU Batman. I'll take him over Alan Ritchson at this point. But Tyler Hoechlin, while at a Fan Expo Canada, along with all the other great Supermans, aka Dean Cain not being there because he's not a great Superman. But Brandon Routh, Tom Welling, Tim Daly, and George Newbern, in addition to Tyler Hoechlin, were all on a panel together. And they were discussing, obviously DC stuff. He said, he was saying like, hey, I want to take a crack at this shit. He's like, well, selfishly, I'm going to say no because I still want to play Batman. I think and I say that Rob did a fantastic job with Matt Reeves. It was great. So I'm happy to let them keep doing their thing and maybe leave the door open for maybe an additional whole new envisioning of Batman versus Superman. Well, let's not see Batman versus Superman. Let's just, let's not say that. Let's get away from verses and just have them working together. But what are your thoughts on this? I know you haven't been a huge fan of Tyler Hoechlin as Superman, but
he just doesn't look like a superhero to me. And I know that I'm not trying to be unkind, but you guys have told me he's amazing. I did put his Superman on my list. It is on the list because I would like to check him out and see what all of y'all see. I think, but for me, I think, yeah, if anyone would be better
I mean,
as a
Catman is a
Batman.
whole nother hero. That's Thomas Blake. So I don't know why. What? Anyway.
Okay. I think he would be a better fit as a Batman, but I don't know. We'll see.
I don't think he's famous enough, and I don't think he's quite old enough.
But maybe that's a good thing.
But obviously, we'll see. I think because the thing is, he has done some darker stuff while he was Superman, and I think he did that darker stuff very well. Whether it was part of the more Arrowverse stuff or Superman and Lois, whatever it was, he did some darker things that I think could fit into that, like the more Batman type character. You know, I think he would do a good job, but I would say get someone totally fresh and new. Like even though it would be a different character for him, I still say get someone who's very much like brand new to the character. Nobody's who played Batman before. Nobody's played a superhero before. Let's stick with like all brand new people to the best of our ability. Because you know we hit it big with David Corenswet. It seems we hit it big with the Millie Alcock. You know, yeah, Nathan Fillion has played Green Lantern before, but you know, I just want like new, fresh blood in terms of this character. And I think he had a great Superman. He should remain a great Superman and not try to do Batman, even though I wouldn't mind it. Like if he was cast tomorrow, I'd be like, okay, let's see what he can do. But yeah, I mean, yes, he did play a villain on Teen Wolf, so there is that. So, you know, I guess so. You know, I think like not all the time, because it's like sometimes there are characters that shouldn't look like that. Like I don't really want to be John Cena as Peacemaker, because he's kind of going through a lot of trauma right now, and I don't really want to be that. But you know, I'm just saying. Yes, I know it was Hal Jordan in animation, and being specific, but like Eddie Gathegi played a superhero before in like 2 seconds in X-Men First Class. But you know, I think it would be. I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. I think he should just like stick with the legacy of being my favorite Superman, but that's just my opinion. But you know, that's just how it be. But moving on to our next story, speaking of Peacemaker, well, a Peacemaker season 2 star on who they thought could be a good Batman for the DCU, but Sol Rodriguez, who plays Sasha Bordeaux on Peacemaker season 2, which recently premiered last week. We are going to be discussing the next episode sometime this week, either Thursday or Friday. We're not sure yet. But she was talking about who she thought would be a great Batman. And to be honest, her pick is fucking horrible. And because the person she picked was Harris Dickinson. And no, please, God, no, like, honey, baby girl, no, fucking don't. No,
he's not cute enough.
No, I don't think he should be Bond. I don't think he should be Batman. Like, the man is a good actor, but like, no,
not with that.
Insert that Steve Carell clip. No, please, God, no. Yeah, this is.
He could be a Harvey Dent. He could be a villain, but he can't be. There's no way that dude could be Batman. Blah.
Yeah, no, too much of a twink.
Bleh.
Yeah, sure, he could build muscle, but like Harris Dickinson, Harris Dickinson. Hold on, let me get a picture of him. He's gonna play a Beetle. I forget which one, but he's gonna be in the quadfecta.
He was in Baby Girl. We've seen the man. Bleh.
Yeah, but
he was also in that movie where he played a model.
Yes, there he is. That's Harris Dickinson. Yeah, no. Like if anyone is not Batman material, it's this guy. Like he is the complete opposite.
This is. I shouldn't even say it out loud, but not with that nose, gang. Maybe if he got a nose job, the rest of the face is all right, but not that nose. I'm sorry.
No, I think he also needs to get rid of those pimples a little bit. But yeah, No, fam. That's a no from me, dog. In the words,
He might
of
have good teeth, but he's got to have a good everything.
Baby Driver. No, that's Ansel Elgort. You're thinking of Ansel Elgort.
Baby girl. I'll take Ansel. We can have Ansel.
No, ew, gross.
He's all right.
Fuck no. I can maybe see him as Nightwing, but like, no. Beach Rats is the movie you were thinking of, by the way.
Harris could be Robin, maybe.
Yeah.
No one cares what Robin
he's gonna be John Lennon. That's who it was.
Yeah. Which is all right.
Which is, I mean, he played a dickhead in Baby Girl, so like it works. He can play a good dickhead, so you know. I'll take him if he can act. No, just the look, the everything.
Yeah,
no.
It's gotta have the look.
Too old, and I don't think he wants to do any more superheroes.
No,
you know,
Toby's a dick anyway.
Yeah, I've heard he's an asshole, but you know, Green Arrow, well, no.
Aquaman.
Chris Pratt as a Batman and Patrick Schwarzenegger as a Nightwing. No. No.
Who wrote that? Arnold Schwarzenegger? What's wrong with you?
I mean, I've heard Patrick Schwarzenegger is a pretty good actor, so I don't even. Yeah. Harris Dickinson wasn't in Baby Driver. Ansel Elgort was Baby Driver. Two different actors. Two different men.
Yeah.
If you know, you know. If you know that reference, say it in the chat below. Anyway. But yeah, this is a dog shit fucking like answer. There's this actor, he's a coast, and she specifically name dropped Baby Girl. I think he'd be a great Batman. It's just like
she has horrible taste.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not gonna go to her for recommendations on literally anything.
Yeah. Gross. No. She probably likes she probably thinks like McDonald's is like a genuinely good restaurant. Like you know what I mean? Like she probably thinks like Chili's is like the lap of luxury.
Yeah.
Like,
we're going fancy tonight. We're going to Chili's.
Anyway, which is kind of ironic because her co-star is Tim Meadows and he did the Baby Back Rib song in The Office, so it works. It all anyway. But yeah, let's get the hell away from this. Let's go to James Gunn being cryptic on Threads. So this gentleman, this LA Dodgers fan, I'm Andrew Francis, he kept asking for 47 days, asking James Gunn if he can attend the premiere of Superman 2. He says, "Hi, James Gunn, may I please attend the premiere of Superman 2? Please, CC DC official." And then James Gunn being
Hold on. What's 47 days ago? Did he start did he see Superman?
He said day one asking James Gunn. And then the next day is like day 2.
No, I know, but what was the first day that he started? He must have just seen Superman.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Sorry. These things are
but James Gunn being the annoying prick he kind of is sometimes, I guess you'd have to ask someone who's making a Superman 2 movie, because he's not technically making a Superman 2. He is making a quasi sequel that features Superman in it. Because all right, fine, fucking James Gunn being a fucking.
But I will say,
about it.
James was just most recently on the Smart List podcast, and it's actually a really, really good listen. He does talk about DC. He also talks about Marvel, but he just talks about kind of his origin story a little bit as well. And prior to him being on Smart List, Jason Momoa was on Smart List. So again, if you give a shit about movie making and all the behind the scenes kind of things, both of those interviews are definitely worth a listen.
Yes.
I highly recommend them. They're very good.
Yes. But Andrew Francis then replied, "Happy to amend the request as soon as the title is released to the public." So we'll see where Andrew Francis is.
With it. I hope he sticks with it. I think James Gunn will reward somebody who sees it through. If he just quits at day 52, then you don't deserve to be invited to the premiere. But I hope the man sticks with it.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm rooting for you, Andrew Francis.
But we're going absolutely. But we're going now we're going from Superman to Peacemaker. James Gunn was talking about where and when things would be premiering in terms of the world. He was talking about how, in Canada and Switzerland and India, this is when it's premiering, and sometimes it's going to be on HBO Max, sometimes not. So in the UK, Germany, India, it's not going to be on HBO Max, but New Zealand and Greece and all that, it's going to kind of sort of be HBO Max. But but somebody asked on this, they said, I downloaded the Threads app just to pose this question. Are we supposed to accept the fact that Rick Flag Sr. and Jr. are pretty much the same age? That aside, I'm loving the DCU so far. So James Gunn said they're like 17 years apart in real life. They're supposed to be 18 years apart in the show, as we did get that in Creature Commandos. He was talking about
Grillo
that with
just looks that good, gang. Frank Grillo's just be taking care of himself.
But Rick Flag Sr. did say in Creature Commandos to the princess who got a bullet in the head from the bride, that he was saying, well, just explaining his backstory, being like, I was an army brat. I had this kid at 18. Then when he was 18, he wanted to, go into the army. So, he did explain that, but it seems like, they're not the same age. Joel Kinnaman is younger than Frank Grillo, and he's just amending that. Although Lee Pace Batman, who is a famous guy on not famous, but he crops up from time to time in these posts, also amending the timelines, which we will be getting into soon enough. But this does, if you were wondering about the Rick Flag Sr. and Jr. thing, then, we will, he did say, you're good. Although James Gunn loved his own comments, so I don't know what that means about James Gunn, but a little egotistical there, buddy. But
he's a good time. He's a good time.
But we did talk about this a couple times, but James Gunn talking about Blue Beetle, he did this interview. It might have been one of the interviews you were talking about, but he was saying he fits in very nicely with the new DCU along with Peacemaker, though maybe we have to retcon a couple things. But this was like one of the first things in terms of the DCU, like what's going to be canon from DCEU to DCU. And he said pretty much the only characters are Peacemaker, Amanda Waller, and Blue Beetle. Obviously, things change. Now it's pretty much the supporting cast of Peacemaker as well. And obviously a couple different things here and there. But James Gunn was saying, he's going to fit in very, very... Actually, but Rotten Tomatoes, Gunn was comparing Blue Beetle to Peacemaker, saying that in his, film, that there's hardly anything that needs to change for, Blue Beetle to make the jump to the DCU, including a few minor changes to the events of of Peacemaker of that first season, but comparing it to Blue Beetle, because there's not a ton. As Dan said the other day, the only thing that's really gets mentioned in terms of outside characters is Batman, and George Lopez calls Batman a fascist, which is like, you could probably, any conspiracy theorist can probably say that.
It was hilarious.
But yeah, indeed. But yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, did you see Blue Beetle?
I sure did.
Did you like it?
I liked it for the fact that I was like introduced to a new character. Obviously the movie was pretty trash, but I hope that they do bring the kid back. I hope they do bring him into the timeline, because I think just the overall vibe and tone does fit well with Peacemaker and would work. I wouldn't be upset about it. I think the kid deserves a shot. So, and it'd be funny to see George Lopez and Peacemaker like talk to each other, if that would even be possible. But yeah, I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed Peacemaker. I think it could have been better, but for a movie that was supposed to be on HBO Max, it was surprisingly really good. The practical suit was fantastic. Mara Dueña was amazing. It had some good action. It had a good overall origin story, but overall, I thought it was very good. It's probably one of the better DCU movies, which is not saying much, but I will say that. I mean, Dan is right. I mean, it is indeed all about family.
I don't have friends. I got family.
We haven't used that in a while.
I really do miss it. I really do.
We gotta bring that back more. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense for Blue Beetle to come back into the fray. I mean, it works because like mainly a lot of the latter DCU stuff wasn't really connected all that much, which was probably for their benefit because now they could bring in more bits and pieces from that era into this new era. So yeah. But in regards to timelines, I was briefly talking about that before. There's a certain thing that happens in Peacemaker Season 2's premiere that brings in quite a few questions. If you care, if you don't care, then whatever. But the Justice Gang is the group that replaces the Justice League in the Season 1 ending, now the Season 2 beginning. That it's not just the Justice Gang, though. It's Mr. Terrific, Green Lantern, and Hawkgirl, but in addition to that, you have Superman, but also Supergirl. So, and obviously, we're not going to get more with Supergirl because it's not her show. It's, it's a whole different thing. So, the whole thing is like this takes place around, I don't know when it takes place because Peacemaker came out in 2022. I don't know if this takes place like a couple months later. So does it still take place in 2022? The timelines are a bit confusing, and it's just like, oh, she's shown up on Earth, but why does Lex Luthor only care about Superman? So yeah, that kind of brings in a lot of.
Those are some interesting questions. Yeah.
Questions in regards to that. Is she working with the Justice Gang? Is she just being like? Is just Superman being like, hey, why don't you go on a mission with me? Just stop drinking for 2 seconds and just like help me out. There's this like alien threat. She's like, all right, fine, if I have to. And then, I think also, hello, Antonio. Nice to see you. Yeah, I thought there was somebody else that was new, but no. Oh yeah, there was. Decol Games also. Hello, Hunter Iggy. Hello. But yeah, I don't know if I know you're not one for caring about continuity, but
I am actually. Continuity is a very big deal to me.
Okay, then what are your thoughts on this then?
I was kind of hoping he was going to come back and be like, that's actually not Superman and Supergirl, and these are just characters that we haven't shown to have been, joining with the Justice Gang. But
I mean, who else would they be though?
Well, but it's kind of a bummer. Like, I feel like this was almost something that he didn't necessarily need to do because, again, especially now with the media, everybody's talking about, okay, Superman, and then Superman leading into Peacemaker 2. So I really feel like this scene wasn't necessary to add. Like, you don't have to introduce the Justice Gang in that way. You could have just gone ahead and done so with the interviews that we see in the first episode, and that still would have been fine. So yeah, I think this was a misstep, to be sure. And again, opens up a lot of questions, and which you don't know, maybe by the end of the season, he'll button it up and he'll make it make sense for us. Maybe this could be an alternate timeline situation since we're kind of,
we're getting an right now. Show,
so. But yeah, I don't think it should have been handled this way.
I mean, but here's the thing. If they didn't handle it, then people would be like, oh, is the Justice League canon to the DCU? They had to answer the question to like kind of clean up the fact like this is a new world. Yes, most of Peacemaker Season 1 in this world is canon. It's just like a couple different things change. Like,
yeah, I just don't think this was the way to handle it though.
I can't really I couldn't imagine like how they handled it differently. Like the way I wanted to see them do it, which I think could have been really funny, is if like John Cena was just sitting in front of a fire, reading a book, smoking a pipe in a robe, and just being like, "Hi, I'm John Cena. What you're about to watch is Peacemaker Season 2, and you probably have a lot of questions. And with that, I'm here to answer those questions before we start." And then like kind of just talk about it, and like and then that's how they lead it to. That's how I thought it would be funny to do that, but
or even
I can
if James
see them
Gunn himself did it.
Well, I just like John Cena is a nicer face to look at and a nicer voice to listen to. Yeah. So, but I could see them doing this. It's just like I don't know why Supergirl had to be there. because in the original one there were only 4 heroes, so why add a 5th
Well,
one?
again, I would have felt better if he had just turned around and said, actually, that's not either one of them, and that's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. That these are new characters we haven't been introduced to yet. All right, fine, but the choice was made and it was a miss. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. But we wait with bated breath for the next episode of season 2. Let's see if me and the people in my Discord server are correct that they are in fact on Nazi world rather than the perfect
I
world
do
they
like
think it
that
is.
theory. That would be
And
interesting.
someone else actually mentioned something
Bring
else.
back GI Robot.
That the way they say Bloodhaven in the show is like very German-esque sounding. So I'm like, that's probably a reach, but I'm like, all right, I could see that happening.
Okay.
But we go back to James Gunn on Threads, being the naughty little boy he is. But we did talk about this before, but somebody asked James Gunn about like Maxwell Lord not being a villain, but James Gunn was saying, well, that's a much later version, and he was kind of like into this muscular villain, and the original Justice League International run, they said he was a multi-layered character who was like more morally gray, corrupt businessman kind of thing, but like kind of doing what's right, but like not maybe in the best ways. I mean, literally in that run, Martian Manhunter like fucking actually read his mind, like deep within his mind to see if like he was doing this for nefarious purposes, and he wasn't. It's just that Jeff Johns came in. He's like, no, I want to make him evil for literally no reason, and then he shot Blue Beetle in the face. So it's fucking stupid, and nobody liked it, but that's kind of what we had to do. But also hello Patrick Childs. Look, now everyone's talking about Vin Diesel in the chat, so it's like, all right, okay. But this person was saying they loved, episode 1, it's all great. And they were asking like, oh, did they reset the DCU with the Flash? What's the continuity again? And James Gunn's like, all right, okay, I gotta say this again. None of these things really exist, so it's obvious I didn't erase any films from existence, but if one really wants to pretend it's all real, the second is closer, which is like this part right here, the second part. You could say there are infinite amounts of timelines, and the DCU timeline is almost exactly the same as the Peacemaker Season 1 timeline with very, very minor differences. I think it's fair to say, a lot of aspects of Season 1 fit in even less with the DCEU than the DCU. So season 1 is kind of an outlier to begin with, which I agree with, because you had the next door neighbor, Mel, being like, oh yeah, Batman doesn't kill people. That is not fucking correct, because 100% Ben Affleck did definitely fucking kill people. So, that's like, I remember when I watched that scene, it was before I watched the show, I just saw a clip of it. I'm like, this is supposed to take place in the DCU, and like fucking Ben Affleck like had machine guns on his bat tank and fucking like killed people. So that's a whole bunch of bullshit. So I kind of agree with that. And yeah, he's just trying to make things right. Yes, I am aware James Gunn talks too much, but hey, I talk too much, and it's just like it's clear it's a similar timeline. That's it. People need to, fucking, okay, sure. Rubber bullets, my ass. Like, can absolutely fucking destroy a car, but yeah, rubber bullets, sure. So, whatever. But now we move on to kind of and I think it's the same thread. This person actually, and then he replied to it in this thread. He was saying, kind of felt this was going to be the case, whether intentional or not. The Suicide Squad and Peacemaker Season 1 already felt self-contained for the most part, as I was saying before, as most of the latter DCEU movies did after Zack Snyder left. So they can be carried over almost seamlessly. What really gave Peacemaker a nudge was the old guy, as I mentioned in Season 1, talking about a Batman who doesn't kill people, which the DCEU did not have. Yeah, that Batmite, Matter Eater Lad, on and on. There are so many things that didn't fit, as it was a transitionary period anyway. So yeah, that kind of is, the be all and end all. Yeah. He says it to Robin. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, yes, that's a line from, yeah, okay, gotcha. I was gonna say, I I started reading Dark Knight Returns. I have to get back to it, but yeah, that's just how it be. Anyway, but another thing that James Gunn was talking about, James, why don't you just re-release the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker season 1 on HBO Max with Weiner? And isn't that much more easy? That would be millions of dollars of work for something only a very, very, very small minority care about, kind of like Zack Snyder's Justice League. I'd rather spend that money on news stories, which is good on him. He doesn't need, as he said before, to George Lucas the shit out of his previous projects. So, yeah, why would you spend millions of dollars that only a small minority care about? That's crazy. Anyway, but last James Gunn retcon thread. Well, this isn't really a retcon, but it's James Gunn on Threads. But this person was saying, as a 40-year-old man, this will sound cringe, but oh well, I don't think it's cringe. But ever since I watched Superman, that part of me that desires to do the right thing and point out bad behavior at work has been ignited. I get a lot of virals, but it just feels right. Best compliment we could get, James Gunn said. You simultaneously make a movie that's super inspiring and encourages people to do good, and a TV show in the same universe that's super perverted, morally bankrupt, and encourages people to do bad. Crazy. However, James Gunn clapped back. In no way do I think Peacemaker is any less about finding our own humanity than Superman is. They're simply different people on different journeys, and the stories are aimed at different age groups. This will feed into the discussion a little bit later, but it's kind of like a through line of talking about retcons and talking about the whole what is in the title of this video. But we are going to talk about that extensively. But like in terms of what he's saying here, do you already see that in Peacemaker season 2 episode 1? Yeah, we do have like the infamous orgy scene and him doing drugs and all that. But do you kind of feel that what James Gunn is saying here is applicable to Peacemaker's character?
Yeah. No, absolutely. It totally fits the vibe and the tone of the show from what we've already seen with season 1. So it, for me, seeing that wasn't necessarily a surprise, because in the very first episode of season 1 of Peacemaker, John Cena was having sex with a woman in his house, like, full on nudity right then and there, the very first episode. So it's on par with what they've already done, as far as kind of setting the tone of what this show is going to be about.
Right.
Not that the show is about having sex, but
But yeah, it's just like it's like a darker edged vibe to what Superman is. It's like showing like the bright side and the darker side and how we build up from that. I mean, Superman isn't really about like that darker side, but it's about him this is a through line with all of James's work, is the found family and the outsider, and the outcast, I should say. It's like, that's like pretty much it. Like from Slither to now is like, it's the found family and the outcasts, one or the other, or usually both. I don't think so. I don't know why we're talking about Star Wars, but I think, oh, hi, Dan.
Because he wants to be in Star Wars.
I know he wants to be in Star Wars, but David, think higher of yourself.
That's not kind.
Anyway, Dan, how you doing, Dan?
Dan,
hi. Oh, hi.
Don't throw any more crap at us, Dan. We're wrapping up here.
I don't know. I think I was meant to go into the other studio for Tier List Tuesday, and I just joined this one instead. So, hi.
Well, hi.
Well, we have one more story, and we could use your expertise and insight on it. So obviously it's the title, it's the thing that people have been waiting for. This was kind of a transitionary thing, but talking about like the R-ratedness of James Gunn's new universe, and it's like, hey, is this a little bit too gross and perverted for people? Is this too much for the crowd that James Gunn is going for? And Liz, I'm curious to know your thoughts. I know we've talked about this in the past, but let's get it all out now.
James has consistently come out and told us exactly what to expect, and exactly, again, this is more family oriented. This is more for adults. That's why it's on a channel like HBO Max. That's why this is going, into theaters. He's been very open about explaining the division between the projects as far as that's concerned. But as I talked to you gentlemen a couple days ago, HBO Max was using Superman as a way to promote Peacemaker, which does not help this argument and does not help this situation. And I'm sure
Thank you,
that's
Nelson.
not something that James Gunn would be particularly happy with either, because he has, really tried to defend his stance and his reasoning for delivering Creature Commandos and Peacemaker the way that he does. So it definitely muddies the waters when somebody does that, because as we have said time and time again in this chat, Peacemaker season 2 is not a sequel or a continuance of Superman. That's just how they fell in the schedule when they were released. But now, unfortunately, people are associating the two in that same vein and thinking that they can sit down and watch this with their children, which, as we all know, is no bueno.
Yeah, I just think with all of this, it's just like you just need to be more aware, and I think
well, at the end of the day,
people don't want
comic
to do
books are
that.
R-rated, right? Like because he is taking these things straight from different versions, different timelines, different comic stories, and not every comic is for children either. But we're just people in the mainstream, people that aren't a part of that culture don't necessarily know that. So it's tricky. And again, James has been doing his best to try to, make people aware before they sit down and watch something. But again, having something like what HBO Max is doing is not helping the situation.
Well, I actually beg to differ, but on pretty much all accounts, because James Gunn has said himself multiple times, and we can find the evidence that Peacemaker is a direct follow-up to Superman. And he himself, if anybody is the most guilty of making, at least making the implication or the inference, and usually it's not even an inference, he's just said it like straight up. If you watch Superman, the story continues in Peacemaker. So,
well, but
I
he's
think
also said you don't have to, though. He said, yes,
right,
it does
but it's
continue, and you can connect the
but
dots,
I'm like, pick a
but you
lane.
don't need one in order to watch the other. He has said that as well.
Yeah, but that was also like he talked himself into circles about the whole idea that I didn't know Peacemaker was going to release this early. So clearly he doesn't have control over the release schedule of Peacemaker as much as I guess we were potentially were led to believe, given that he is a co-CEO of DC Studios. It's probably more of like an HBO decision, which is, so he basically publicly said, it comes down to, I wanted people to see Superman before they went to see Peacemaker. But then literally days later, he's like, oh yeah, but you don't have to watch, Superman to enjoy Peacemaker. We'll explain that stuff for you anyway. So again, like, why release Superman early on digital, blah, blah, blah. Because right now, it's looking like F1 will actually cross Superman's box office worldwide. It's within less than $1 million. So Superman won't even be the highest grossing, I don't know, like action pick, whatever, like of those movies that came out between June and July. Superman will be beat by F1. I think deservedly so. F1 is a better movie. Also, in Superman, a guy gets shot point blank in the head, and there's like a lot more like that in and of itself is I think just completely out of line with the tone of the rest of the movie. So, and that's what this article points out. And then I think it's completely fair to look, on one end, it's totally okay to have different tones across your projects and have them be aimed at different demographics and stuff. And I think there's a general expectation that less people will watch something on HBO Max than they will watch at a movie theater, because it's more available to people in a movie theater. Despite,
I think people also know what they're getting with HBO Max as well. HBO historically has always been adult content, has always been for more mature audiences.
That's what Tony said over here. So
yeah.
Thank you for your drawing. I mean, I'm just saying, look, here's the thing. Because I think it's like you have to walk the line between, because Warner Brothers has always kind of been like, we're the studio, director friendly studio, which of course they could not say for a few years with their previous regime that killed that convention, losing Christopher Nolan, almost losing Denis Villeneuve. But I mean, James Gunn keeps saying where each creator is going to get to do their own thing, and each project will have its own tone, and we're creating even a Star Warsian universe rather than the MCU where everything is the house style. Rather, you could tell stories where one thing could be Andor and the other thing could be, I don't know, what was the show with Jude Law in it recently?
Skeleton Crew.
skeleton
which I
crew.
wanna
Like,
call
you know,
spare
those
parts, all
two
that.
things
Well,
exist in the
yeah.
same universe.
I mean,
So
well, and the argument can also be made for some of the Marvel projects as well, the ones that certainly were on Netflix. Even though I understand they're different studios, they were owned by different people, but still, if you're a fan of anything Marvel, after you watch the latest Avengers, whatever, and then you're going and watching Jessica Jones, which has a completely different tone, or the latest Daredevil, which is now on Disney Plus, totally different. A lot of blood, a lot of gore, a lot of darker, characters and subject matter. No boobs, as far as I can recall, but still a different tone than what you would expect, certainly from
What?
something that you would see on Disney Plus.
I'm confused by this comment. You're mad that the villain is a villain? I'm very confused by this comment.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point, John.
But again, I just was gonna point out real quickly. I know that F1 came out 3 weeks before Superman, but I mean, I'm just saying F1 wasn't expected to make as much money, and Superman was expected to make more. 606.0.
But it's also you also have to consider like that
605.9
one is way more appealing, is more for a broader audience. There are people
Yeah.
that have no interest in
Yeah,
Superman,
but isn't
in
okay.
superhero films at all. Like
Okay,
I
but
told my
wouldn't you
mother
say-
immediately after leaving F1, you need to go
Yeah.
see this film. You'll love it. I didn't say that to her about Superman because she could give a flying about superhero movies at the end of the day.
She gave a
It's for different
flying.
audience.
Flying. Anyway.
Oh Lord.
I
But
just look. I
they're-
just think
they're
you
very
should be.
different audiences.
Yeah, that's not Thanos shouldn't be the be all and fucking end all, considering one, he's a horrible villain, and I'm not saying that like, oh, he's a horrible villain. He's a horribly written villain, very well performed by Josh
Agreed.
Brolin, but he is
MGM
a
plus is 5.
horrible villain. And the fact that the Russo brothers had to explain like 90% of the bullshit in regards to Thanos showcases that they're not good filmmakers and don't know how to fucking write.
And then they
people,
backtracked and made a joke of the whole thing in What If anyway, so it totally just killed the whole thing.
So
yeah,
I'm just, no. Okay, look. I'm not saying, Tony, that it's a bad thing that like Peacemaker is very rated R. It's TVMA, whatever you want to, the TV equivalent of rated R.
No,
I just
but
think right. I just think like Superman, for example, was a movie that
indeed
had stuff in it that was darker than we expected, especially those certain moments, like when literally they do have a dude getting shot point blank in the head, which even for a movie like The Dark Knight, which people will say, oh yeah, The Dark Knight or The Dark Knight Rises, and sorry I'm bringing The Dark Knight back in the conversation, but like those movies are looked at as dark. But like they never showed something like that point blank. They always cut away from it. There's a way, and somehow it felt like even more evil. Like I'd rather not run into the Heath Ledger's Joker, and I'm gonna take my chances with Lex Luthor. I'm just saying.
No,
like,
I think we all
Happy
agreed with
birthday.
that
Happy birthday,
scene
Anthony.
could have been shot differently. Oh yeah, happy birthday, Anthony. I think we all can agree that scene should have been shot differently. And and again, I had made the comment initially that like
if
while
you're
I was
finding
kind
Walter White relatable, I don't know. I think that says more about you than the people you're trying to win the argument against.
Well, no, but you do root for Walter White, though. Like you do want him
not
to.
really.
But anyway, but like I did make the point after seeing it for the first time that I was shocked by how much cursing there was. I did say it made sense as far as for the overall tone, but again, coming back and having seen Superman and reporting that like, oh yeah, the swearing fit in, that that's not a something that I ever thought that I would say about a Superman film. So yeah, so Dan, I agree with Dan in his point that while they're trying to promote it as one, that's not what they delivered necessarily.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of stuff in well, not a lot of stuff, but there's moments in Superman. Look, I think overall the movie is definitely aimed at a wider audience, and it's got the right rating for it. Theatrically, PG-13. It's a hard PG-13 at times, whereas Peacemaker clearly is, for a different kind of audience. I just think that right now it's weird because it's like James Gunn by himself is like a marketing machine for this universe and for DC Studios, and sometimes the way he talks about projects is clearly either not in line or like they're not in sync, and it takes time for them to catch up in the public eye with the marketing department over at Warner Brothers and DC Studios. And I'm simply pointing out there's some it's a little bit of hypocrisy or just statements that are counter to what James Gunn has said himself just days apart. This is that same it's that same thing we've been talking about for a year or two now, where it's like maybe talk less, and that will result in you contradicting yourself less.
Look at all the
you know?
stories we did of him like talking on Threads. Like there were like 6 different links in regards to him
I
talking to
know.
fans on Threads, which
That's
is
just
like
the past 4 days. Like it's not even
yeah,
like that old.
it's not
Yeah.
even it's not that much. And I think I think yeah, it's do I agree with, I don't know. I just think it's just like people were gonna complain no matter what. Like if Superman was the like fucking like DC superhero girls, that level of or Teen Titans Go, people would have complained. If they did it hard R, like even beyond Zack Snyder levels, people would have complained. And anything in between, no matter what James Gunn was gonna do, people were gonna complain. But now with the whole Peacemaker argument, people are clutching their pearls, acting like Puritans, just being like quaking in their boots over something so small that it's just like, I don't know. I just think it's a bit fucking ridiculous at this point, and I'm kind of sick of talking about it because it's just tiring.
Well,
and
and
just
again,
like, I'm
to
tired
the
of
point
people,
that
acting like this.
But again, to the point that I was making last week and the point that I just made right now about it being on HBO Max, at the end of the day, you all have to take accountability for yourselves as well and do the research. They have the R rating right on there. They have it on the listing on the guide.
That's also a bit of a okay.
I agree with you that they made some missteps in Superman, but they have not made any, they've not lied to us about where Peacemaker stands. Even Creature Commandos is also R-rated. It's not for children, even though it's animated. They haven't lied to anybody about that. They haven't tried to hide that. They haven't given any of it a PG rating. So the onus does come down to the audience as well.
Right, but I think there's also the other side of the argument is more so. I think this article does kind of go into it a little bit. It's that thing where when again the MCU launched with the best of what they had available with Iron Man, then this did a Captain America movie. You obviously had the Hulk movie the same year as Iron Man. Then you had Thor, and then you built Iron Man 2, and then you get the Avengers. And then the 2 characters that got introduced with the first time the Avengers were characters that probably wouldn't have done well with their own solo movies anyway, with Hawkeye and Black Widow. And then you look at the DCEU, I should say, and for all the faults that they had, and they rushed their way through everything, they made sure to introduce a Wonder Woman and a Batman swiftly after the Man of Steel introducing Superman. They went about it in the wrong way, I think, because they packed it all in one movie as opposed to spreading the love a little bit. And then when we got the solo Wonder Woman movie, clearly we saw that what was possible. And then after that, things got even more haywire. But the point is, they knew that you gotta try to bring in a bigger audience. I think today, where the superhero, as a point counterpoint, I think today we live in a world where the superhero genre is more niche than it's ever been before because we're past that peak. We clearly know, and we thought this was going to begin the new silver age of superheroes. Based on the numbers, clearly the silver age of this comic book genre isn't quite here yet. Part of that has to do with the fact that the box office just isn't where it used to be, the economy that we live in today. Maybe that will come in a few years' time. I think there is a valid concern that James Gunn has. Well, again, all of these projects are his projects, and a lot of them were in the works before the DCU was even a thing, because Superman was going to be a movie that he was pitching before he got the job as co-CEO of DC Studios. It was because of the Superman pitch. Creature Commandos, he's mentioned, was something he was working on before even the Superman pitch. He mentioned this in one of the podcasts in the past few months, promoting Superman the movie. And then, obviously, Peacemaker was something he did as part of the DCEU. So I think, there was a bit of a concern, and then with him bringing in all his own projects, a lot of them were niche by design because that's the area where James Gunn operated very successfully, and now he's asked to be do Superman. He did a great job at Superman overall, but I think it's evident in the approach. The fact that Ana Aguirre was working on a Teen Titans script that was publicly addressed by James Gunn, and then David Zaslav goes on a public statement saying, "Oh yes, we had a Wonder Woman thing coming up." And the next 5 times we hear from James Gunn about it, he's like, "Oh yes, we are expediting it." And Ana Aguirre is working on it, and she's put aside the Teen Titans script to then focus on it. To me, that says the big boss came into the room and said, well, what are the whole reason why we give you a whole freaking ass studio is so you can give us these big characters and a universe that has mass appeal. And what the fuck do you have? Creature Commandos that nobody watched to the point where it's available for free on YouTube, and then Peacemaker where the audience is rising, but it's not like, HBO. We know HBO sits relative middle to the bottom of the pile in terms of relative viewership. More people watch YouTube and Netflix than watch HBO Max, and there's actually Disney Plus in the middle and a couple other things. So, and then Superman obviously was a big one. So I'm like, but where's Wonder Woman? Where's Batman? We were talking about it just yesterday, 2 days ago. Like, they're still trying to figure out Batman. So again, I'm just saying there's potential early warning signs that things could get bad or desperate soon. So I'm not saying they're going to fumble the ball. I'm just saying it's worrying.
But
and
again,
clearly some
nobody's
of this
saying
has
shit
played out in
about
the public eye.
But nobody's saying shit
That's
about
all.
the Batman, though. The Batman was extremely dark. The Batman, again, there wasn't, breasts necessarily, but there was, prostitution. There was all out murder. There, it was dark subject matter. It was a very dark tonality, and nobody's sitting here and going, how do you go from the Batman to Superman? And then, like, you know what I mean? So at some point, people did understand and recognize the various lanes that all of these projects were in. Yes, I agree that maybe it's a little too close. Thank you. Yes. And I do agree with Yash that, that's why they waited for Deadpool. But again, Deadpool, they also made it exclusive, very clear.
Well, I mean, Fox didn't want to make
it was rated R. All the movie posters, all of the trailers, everything was like, this is not for kids. Ryan Reynolds kept coming out and saying over and over again, we want to give the people the Deadpool that they know and love. It is an R-rated comic. This is an R-rated film. Don't fuck this up for us. Don't ruin it by bringing your fucking kids because it's a guy in a mask, having fun off the pages of a comic book. Again, y'all, the onus also needs to be on the audience as well. Why you guys aren't up in arms about the tone of the Batman? We are going to be getting the Batman season 2. Granted, because it's taking longer to come out. If it had come out around the time it was originally supposed to, I feel like we would maybe be having that argument as well. They are different projects, and yes, we're trying to see how it all fits in within the same universe. Yes, he is using some of the same characters. He is referring to some of the other events and things like that. But at the end of the day, like, he's not going to be able to make every single person happy.
Yeah,
he's going to have some missteps. But, and I agree, he is talking too much. That is also a big part of the problem. That is what is adding to the confusion. But at the end of the day, audiences need to take accountability for themselves as well.
Yeah, but again, I think Liz also in some ways, I've kind of moved beyond just talking about the Peacemaker Superman situation. I'm talking about the bigger picture, right? Like, because even Marvel, for example, they're like, okay, Thunderbolts, they never expected to do great. It did well for what it was. But again, the authority has been shelved for the most part. Maybe not because it's more for creative reasons than financial reasons.
But they kept trying to get edgier as well. They were slowly adding in curse words to the various Marvel.
Well, true. But I don't think that's really okay. Again, that's going back to the whole Peacemaker Superman argument. I mean, like, okay, there's two things that are very different. That's fine. I think they're just misleading you with saying, because like you said, Liz, the key problem with the marketing for Peacemaker season 2 has been they said it's a direct follow-up. The story continues from Superman,
right?
And so the audience for Superman is much more, diverse and wider demographic than what you are expected for Peacemaker. You're going in from PG-13 at times, hard PG-13 to really soft PG-13 to TVMA, and that's a big jump. But I think just bigger picture, all I'm saying is there are some early warning signs. That's all I'm saying. I mean, for example, we didn't get a Wonder Woman right now. Like, there's no Wonder Woman in the DCU yet, but. And again, it's both Marvel and DC. I think, and we probably should do a whole editorial video on this. The idea of the superhero genre needs to maybe live, within its means now, because it no longer has the ability to just spend 150, 200 million on everything that they make for a movie and then spend 30 million an episode making a TV show, because they don't draw as big of an audience, because it's not a guaranteed success. Hollywood, the whole reason why the superhero genre blew up in the first place in the 2010s and the late 2000s is because they became like home runs. It was so easy to like spend $200 million. Like, for example, the first Suicide Squad movie, universally hated, or like whether it's cool to be hated or whatever. I had fun with it. That movie made more money than Superman, made like $700 some odd million. Where's the graphic that we have for it? The first Suicide Squad movie made, the second one made 168. The first one made 749 million, almost 750 million. Of that money, it made more than half of that in its first like 10 days. That is kind of insane to think about. Like, that
Well, but
versus
again, I don't feel
like where
that
we are
that movie
today.
was marketed to kids and to families either, though. I think they were also very honest about the fact that it was gritty, it was edgy, and I think it's also very difficult for people like in James Gunn's position who are fans, right? Because the comic book world is so broad and so vast, and you can go really, really dark, or you can go really, really edgy, or you can go really cheesy and corny. So, he was kind of picking with what he liked and the things that he liked about it. And unfortunately, it's just not what people have been used to over time. But again, as time went on with Marvel, with all of their projects, they started to get a little edgier. They started putting in some more adult things. We have Captain America calling, Thanos the son of a bitch at the end of it, which nobody ever expected to come.
Yeah, but
And
that doesn't get
now
you a
we have
rated R.
Thunderbolts, which is talking more about mental
Yeah.
health and things of that nature. So they kind of are recognizing that they need to, kind of get out of that kiddie family era as well. So
Well,
I think it's a tough, yeah.
It's always the
Granted,
balance.
listen, it's a tough situation of James Gunn's own design for sure. But I also think the argument is there on both sides that, again, it is an accountability thing also on both sides. So that's where it gets a little tricky for me. I don't have a problem with any of it, but at the same time, I also don't have children. So maybe I would think and feel differently.
Yeah, no, I definitely think there's like moments in Superman that if you brought your kids to it, it'd be
And I agree with that wholeheartly.
and
I do
it's
have a
not the
problem with those as well.
right, and it's not the kind of conversation that Snoop had with his grandkids. It's a different kind of.
Please. Snoop was in the L word, so even he invalidated his own argument. Like it doesn't even make sense.
Look, I think what it comes down to ultimately is it's still early to tell because everything from the DCU so far has been heavily written and or directed by James Gunn so far. So really, we haven't seen that whole idea of different creators, different tones, for different audiences. And we know everything he has put out so far has a very James Gunn signature to it. And then, at least one of the next 3 or 4 things will still be very heavily James Gunn influenced. So, but ultimately, all I was trying to say was just look, it's early and without any conclusions, but it is fair to point out that clearly there's been some course correction behind the scenes, potentially, especially because there's not many people above James Gunn and Peter Safran, other than David. It's only David Zaslav really and his executive team, if that, but mostly David Zaslav, who's got authority over him.
But
where Wonder Woman and we there is no timeline for the Batman Brave and the Bold script. We don't know when the Wonder Woman script is going to be done. Those are your other 2 biggest characters. Not to mention, I also, just quick sidebar, I hate the idea that every time that the 2 times they've started the new DC universe, they've felt the need to kick it off with Superman. Because while Superman is great,
no, that's fair.
If you want to make money and you want to put your most popular character up front, start the fucking universe with Batman. Because Batman, DC is the house that Batman built and forever will be that. Unfortunately for Superman, he has to play second fiddle at the box office, and he always has. It's not even close. And so to me, like, the longer they wait to bring out a Batman, I'm sure they have the Batman, which in and of itself has had many delays. I think this is where, it's just, again, some early warning signs. There's a few red flags here and there and a sea of green flags that we have seen so far. So we'll see where Peacemaker goes. And look, episodes 6 through 8 are supposed to have a lot of surprises. So who knows?
Well,
we might get something that
at the end of the day, I hope
expecting.
with all the talking that James Gunn does, he's also doing a lot of reading, and hopefully he sees these articles, he sees the way people feel about that and pivots, or at least is better about his messaging and explaining to people, this is family friendly, this is not. Sorry if you have a problem with that, but this is what we're doing. I think he just needs to make the message clear, and maybe he can avoid this in the future.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's just, yeah, exactly. I think you put it about as well as as I could have. So there you go. Well, I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. Some of this is just we don't have the answers. All we're doing is posing questions. So I am playing devil's advocate in a lot of ways, but also, I mean, I can show you the evidence. It's out there. My pants. Why are my pants on fire? Yeah, thank you. Am I the diplomatic one of the group? I usually
Yeah,
am.
you are.
Okay.
You are.
Yeah. You don't have the answers. Look, I'm posing questions. It's good to look. We're not here to just glaze.
Dan is very
James
good
Gunn.
about seeing it from all sides. Dan is very good about
Yeah.
seeing it from all sides, and I appreciate that about you, Dan.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey,
Eric's
with that,
taking responsibility. That's crazy.
and like Eric said, genuine justified concerns. Again, it's a bit early because a lot of what we're talking about is based on the information that's available to us, and we're not privy to everything James Gunn, Peter Safran, and co are. So,
all right.
I did, and actually, that's part of the reason why I haven't been on the show as much. So, but I won't go into the details. But
None of us are feeling that well, but we're still here for you guys because we try our
I'm
best.
feeling great, gang. I'm feeling.
Yeah, I'm
great.
just.
Everything's going okay.
I'm woozy. I'm not feeling good. I'm tired. It's just like all the things.
Oh Lord, my boy's here. Holy cow!
So must have. I just want to imagine the voice when they're like just speed read the effects for the last 30 seconds of the ad.
I mean,
special side effects may
just to-
include
just
death,
to really
nausea,
bring it
must
home
dunk on
here-
DC immediately, or death. It's
just to really bring it home here, if we want to talk about parents' responsibility, every single goddamn Disney movie, the parents die. Okay, so like, I'm sorry, like, let's just, all right, let's just call a spade, gang. We like,
Yeah.
Yep.
Like literally, Bambi, run!
yeah. I
Like,
saw that shit
all
in
right.
theaters when I was fucking like 3 years old, gang. Like, mom gets yeeted first freaking scene. All right. All
Yeah,
right.
Well, I don't know if HBO Max has like a whole password.
Mufasa getting trampled
thing
anyway.
I'm sure they have a parental system.
They have a kids profile option like most streaming services do. So if you are a parent and you have a kid who's underage and you'd want them to be restricted to only watching certain ratings programming, you could set them up with a kid's profile where they have to either type in a password.
Put a code on your TV so your kid can't access.
There's
shit.
different ways.
There are a lot of things that can be done.
Yeah, and look, I think like I mentioned after
We
Superman,
did. We already did. We already showed it. You're good.
Just now. I mean, that's what he was talking about. But look, it's a bit of marketing, mismarketing Super Peacemaker in terms of where it exists in relevance to Superman. Even I was listening to you guys earlier. You were saying, John, it's kind of hard to tell the timeline of Peacemaker season 2, and James Gunn answered a question about that too on Threads, saying that he sort of figured it out roughly on the set of Superman, but it's sort of like somewhere in the back of his mind he didn't write it down or something like that. So again, it's one of those things where James Gunn wants to give the impression sometimes that he has got this all down, to the T. But and then sometimes he's like, I don't have the answers for you. I haven't gone around to figuring that out yet. So it's like, if you are going to be this active, you better have the answers for people, or it's that thing of just say less, say less. Speaking of saying less, I think we have said plenty. So yeah. We will continue the conversation with Green Lantern chat and Tier List Tuesday on Wednesday coming up. But until then, guys, thanks for tuning in. John is like just sitting here like observing at this point.
I'm just like, because I said my piece and
it's great.
My blood pressure is already through the roof. I'm tired. My stomach hurts. I just want to move on to the next thing.
All right. Okay. Well, speaking of, as we finish this show, give us like a good 10 minutes. Go take a break, get a drink.
See y'all tomorrow.
And then hop in. Liz will be back tomorrow, but it will be John and myself talking about, Green Lantern characters. That's what you voted for Tier List Tuesday. Yesterday we had some tech issues, so we're doing it on a Wednesday. But then on Friday we got Fancast Friday. You can, and in my case Comcast. But you can vote for the tier list. For the Fancast Friday poll that's currently in the live chat for this show. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes on Tier List Tuesday on a Wednesday. But until then, guys, as James Gunn would say, as Superman would tell you, don't forget to look up.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in a stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all in the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto.
Bat
Fuck
nipple
Jeff
radar.
Fuck Jeff Snyder too.